Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space, created weekly, is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Becoming Your Strong podcast. We have a special guest today. I'm hanging out here in the most wonderful gym of all time. How many square feet is it, Kevin?
1,200.
1,200. And we make magic happen out of it every single time that we hang out here. But this is a long time coming. I'm sure Kevin has been waiting very impatiently to finally be on a guest on the podcast. His wife got to be the first one. I'm sure he's a little jelly, but you're finally here, and what a great time.
Thanks for having me. Jess deserves lots of credit, so I'm happy that she got to be the maiden voyage of interviews, and I'm happy to pop in as you need me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that this is such great timing because, I mean, we're 6 weeks away now officially from DEKA World Championships. A lot of listeners are competitors within the hybrid racing space, so there's plenty of people trying to figure out how to mentally, emotionally, physically prepare for what we're going to face in the upcoming weeks. And I think there's a lot of people that would enjoy hearing from you, not just, the answers to the tests, but what is the world champ of multiple different titles doing to prepare himself for the 2025 World Championships. But before I think even going into that, I'm excited to go back in time and just learn more about Kevin and hear more about how you stumbled into hybrid racing, how you chose to dial in on where you're at today. So just give us the story. Where have you been?
Well, in January of 1986, I was born, and that makes me 39 and 7/8. That next age group is coming in January. But I grew up as an athlete, single parent family, so I moved a lot. So I changed schools a ton. The craziest, I think, was seventh grade. I tried out for football at one school. In 2 weeks, I got cut. Then we moved. It had nothing to do with me not being good enough to play. We moved. And then I was at another school. And since we moved in, the coach was like, whatever, you can come play. Like, you'll be on the practice squad and you can move into practice if you're good enough, whatever. So I got to play the whole season. And then by Thanksgiving, we moved again, now a different state. And I had already started wrestling where I was in Virginia and then moved back to Long Island where I was born. And I was like, all right, cool. What time's wrestling practice? Like, we don't wrestle until like February. Like, we have 2 winter seasons. So whatever. Anyways, so I played in high school, football, wrestling, lacrosse. I ended up going to college to play lacrosse. Some people go to school to get an education. I really went to play lacrosse, and then I just happened to have to get an education to be able to play. So that was my priority there, and I did pretty well. I walked onto the college team, but was able to start as a freshman. And I think my dad taught me hard work. He never seemed to have the right um, hand of cards dealt to him to like thrive, but no matter what his situation, he busted his ass and kept a roof over our heads, myself and my two younger brothers. And throughout all that journey was a recovering alcoholic. So everything that comes along with that as a parent, I don't know how he did it. Like, looking at some of the stressors we have today, and I'm like, I have no kids. I have no, like, I'm not getting evicted from another home, not moving again. So I learned a lot of work ethic. College came, got to play lacrosse, and then my 5th year of college, I ran out of eligibility for lacrosse. So then I wrestled, and then once wrestling was coming to an end, I'm like, well, I really don't have any reason to be here anymore. I can't play sports, so I ended up graduating. They gave me a degree in business economics after 5.5 years, and then started real work. And I've been part of a team since like seventh grade, like in that football, the first football team I got cut from, and the next one I was part of. And then even with all the moves, I just kept like signing up for team sports and playing and playing and playing. So once I graduated, I was like, what? I don't really have a community anymore. Now I got to go get a job, which is fine. I didn't mind working. I worked around sports for most of my life after getting those working papers. Um, but I'm like, well, now like I don't really have a reason to work out, or I don't have a season. I don't have anything on the calendar. So I started playing semi-pro football, and that was fun for a minute until I was busting my ass to train, but I realized most of my team was just a drinking team that played football on Saturdays. And it wasn't that I wasn't drinking, but I'm like, I want to drink after we win. Or if we lose, like at least we played well. I don't want to just drink and then step over, play football, and go back to the bar. So in that process, I was like, I got to find something else. And then I heard about Spartan Race on Facebook because that was kind of new back then. I did Tough Mudder, Spartan Race, Warrior Dash, Battle Frog, Bone Frog, all the OCRs that the Northeast had. And then I stuck with Spartan Race because it was competitive. There was rankings and finisher placement and times, and then you race a bunch of cool people and you start seeing the same people over and over at races, and those became my community. Um, and not to say there wasn't any like socializing or activities in or around race weekends. There was plenty of groups of people that you could easily find if you wanted to go to happy hour on Friday and then race and then go back to happy hour on Saturday. And that was fine. Those people were cool, but every week I knew I need to put my training in so I can show up on race day and then let's see how I finish. And first was like, all right, I got top 100. Yes, because there was like elite or just open. So top 100 was like when I broke into the top 100, that was like a huge stepping stone, I guess, and really belief like, okay, I can do this with some more training. And every race I did, I signed up for the next hardest one. So like I did a warrior dash that was like 5K, and then I heard like, oh, you think that's hard? You should do a Spartan race, way harder. So then I signed up for that, and then I did the sprint, and then I did a Tough Mudder, which was 13 miles. I'm like, well, if I can do a Tough Mudder that's 13 miles, why can't I do a Spartan race that's 13 miles? Just happened to be Killington, which at the time I'm like, okay, whatever. Now everyone's like, Killington, wow. So that was my second ever Spartan race. I raced with like 6 friends. One of them ran cross country in college and was built like that. And our group left together. He took off, and then I caught him on the back end when we had to do all these heavy carries, and I ended up finishing, I guess, in the front of my 6-person group. And then he came through second, and then another couple guys came together, and then two like came hours and hours later. But I was like, wow, this is awesome. That sucked. It was so hard, but I want to train. I want to get better. So now I'm like putting races on the calendar and training and whatnot. So that was the beginning. And I just kind of continued that trajectory for a long time. Like my first race was in 2011, and I like the stadium races a lot because they're short and fast, but I also like the ultras. That's anything over 26.2 miles. And Spartan race doesn't measure really well. So you're like, all right, I hit 26. Am I almost done? And then you finish and you realize you ran like 33 miles, 34 miles, and you're at altitude on a mountain and you're out of fuel for 8 hours. So whatever it was, that kind of like replaced my um, need for like all the partying and stuff from college and even post college. Like I was still socializing, but it's like it's not really fun anymore. I'd rather go to a mountain and get my ass kicked and then maybe have a beer at the finish line. And then as time went on and training went on, the beer at the finish line wasn't even like, it's like, okay, I'm good. I'll save my beer tickets and we'll go on a bender at the end of the season and then never use those either. So kind of saved up, but met a lot of really cool people. And like there was people that I raced. Like if I look back at like 2011, 12, 13 and look at the standings of people that beat me or finished around me, I see names that are still around now that are like the people that are killing it. Like Joe Rucco, for example, like we raced neck and neck. I beat him one race, he beat me one race. I beat him one race, he beat me one race. But we'd always see each other on course, and no matter who won, like we were always very, I don't want to say just cordial because we were definitely like friendlier than that, but we also like didn't train together. We just saw each other and we had a lot of mutual respect. And then later on, Joe's world's toughest mudder and just a super athlete. And now we're really fortunate. Joe's like working with us with our brand and stuff, and he's really helped us develop and grow. I guess as I wanted to grow, seeked out coaching. I worked with Yancey a little bit because he had Yancey camp. That was like the first OCR training that I explored, and then I found like the top athletes that I looked up to, like all the Spartan Pro team athletes. But I'm a bigger guy. I'm currently 6'2", 235. So cross
You're not
country
tiny.
runners are the size of my leg. And I was racing against those guys, but there's Hunter McIntyre is over 200 pounds and racing with them and winning. So I was like, how did he get so fast? And then he had a podcast at one point and talked about his running coach. And I was like, I want to work with that guy. I seeked him out, pursued him. He lived in California. I flew out there, worked with Richard Diaz. If you don't know who that is, look him up. He's entertaining to listen to. He's very brash, but he's also over 70 now. He will tell you how he feels, and he doesn't give a shit how you feel. But he knows he's got a lot of good things, and he's developed a lot of really good athletes. So that was like kind of my second or third coach, I guess. I had another coach that was in the OCR space that did more personalized stuff for me at one point. Um, but then working with Richard and chasing him around because he moved to Tennessee. And Richard's just like, Kevin, I'll help you with this ultra stuff, but what the hell? Why don't you focus on something you're actually like built for, or something you're gonna be good at? I know you want to be good at this ultra thing, but you're kind of working in an uphill battle. So then, as 2019 came, this new sport came called High Rocks came out, and then I did that, and that was a lot of fun. I'm like, this is awesome. I can be strong and fast and whatever. And then 2020 came, and then High Rocks or Spartan Race launched DEKA, which is their, I guess, hybrid race. I don't want to like, I guess is their initially was their version of High Rocks, but it's ultimately like now like hybrid is growing, so it's their version of hybrid. And I found out really quickly I'm really good at this stuff. I don't like just built for it, and then the more training I've done, the better I've gotten at it. And then just with Spartan Race, like a lot of people were doing it, but people that stuck around just kept elevating their game. So that's kind of what's happened for DECA for us. I've gotten a lot better, but I've also surrounded myself with a lot of really great athletes to bounce ideas off of. And I've networked myself really well with other coaches in the hybrid space, and even I guess OCR to a degree. So I'll reach out to some of our now like underdog competitors, like other rate like training companies that develop athletes in our space, and pick their brains and share our ideas and get together and have lunch or whatever. Like, because I know I don't know everything I need to know, but I know like a lot. And then I know other people know a lot. So what can I learn? Like personally, done some training with James Hall, who's awesome at the ergs. He has like the 2K records. Work on my form to get better, faster, and more efficient. Like I said, I worked with Richard Diaz. I worked with Rich Ryan before, Corinna, formerly Coffin, now Perkins for nutrition. Um, I've had conversations with Hunter, Kent, Meg, like Bracken, like all the major OCR hybrid training companies. I've built relationships with those people, and I think I've learned so much from them, and I've been able to bring it home to the underdog community, whether it's our athletes, our coaches, or whatnot. And I guess that's my story.
Yeah. I was just going to highlight like the coolest thing about listening to this is one, it started from realizing that you were meant for more and the environment that you were in was not conducive to that. And you didn't know what that next step was. You just kind of openly like looked outwards and things started to come to you and you started to find your jive, and then came Spartan racing. But then even more importantly is you started like listening to other people and seeking out the advice and help of other people. And I think that unfortunately, there's a lot of ego when it comes to competitive sports and just racing in general. That it's hard for people that, especially really good athletes, people that have grown from an athlete all of their life, to sometimes reach out for that help. And I really admire that you took the growth mindset, you took the I don't know everything mindset, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to figure it all out. And I really do believe that that was probably one of the bigger reasons why you had such an incredible 2023, which was an I saw you for the first time. I had no idea who you were. I never watched the YouTube videos. Like I'd never seen them before then. And then I watched you have like the most incredible performance ever. And so that was actually one of the things that I wanted to have the listeners hear about was what do you think really helped you get the success that you got in 2023 when you took home all of those championship titles?
Well, I definitely, I guess, circling back to seeking leadership or guidance from other people in the space, um, finding out, like, having other people that are outside of hybrid kind of look at my situation and give me perspective and understand what they say is not necessarily what I have to do, but I'm fact finding and gathering perspective. My brain is only as good as what I've experienced, but I haven't experienced everything. So I have a really good friend named Pete. He has been in strength and conditioning. He's in his mid 50s, so quite a long time. That's what he's done professionally. Um, and he also he's worked with a lot of high level athletes in ball sports. and he also has like friends in the longevity community, which are something I had no experience in because I've always been younger. So, when you're 18, you can drink all night, no sleep, go play sports, score a bunch of goals, and you're MVP. And like, you don't need to sleep. 20s, you can still get away with that. 30s, you're like, all right, maybe I should not do that as much. And you kind of taper off. But once you get like over 40 and you get up, you got to take some serious looks at your inputs, your nutrition, your recovery, and all that stuff. So those are things that I kind of started to become aware of. I was like, Pete, what do I need to do? Here's the he was familiar with DEKA. He had raced some DEKAs. His girlfriend's really good at DEKA. She competed in Elite in 2022. So he had already like started breaking down stations and fitness and this and that. And he gave me some really good stuff to work on to get more efficient and like really break stations down piece by piece. Um, but a couple of things, I guess my biggest takeaway from working with him is, and I've heard this before, but he really, whatever he did, however he explained it, it really resonated with me. You can only train as hard as you recover from yesterday's workout. So everyone that's doing like hit on Monday and hit on Tuesday and hit on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday and like if you just keep doing hit, you're just breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. You don't ever recover. So the big takeaway I had with him is, yes, we want to hit it hard, but we want to recover harder. And especially now, like there's periods of the season you hear about off season, you hear about builds, you hear about tapers. That's all undulating intensity, and most people go to class every day, and class is intensity,
Intensity.
intensity, intensity, intensity. I burn more calories. I had a good class. I burn more calories. I had a good class. Great. You know why you stall and burn out? Because you're under fueling, you're over training, and then you're just depleting your performance. So having that perspective helped a lot. And then also like he's like, "Hey, do you know how your body is nutrient like with nutrients?" And I'm like, I think so. I mean, my energy's good. I have a Whoop. I have a Garmin. I track this, track that." He's like, "No, but do you know like all of your levels, your blood tests? Have you? When was the last blood test you had?" I haven't been sick." It's like, let's do a blood panel and find out where you have deficiencies. So I did that, and everyone knows what the back of a label looks like, supplement facts or nutrient facts and like recommended daily values. That was built by a bunch of people in the lab for everyday people. We're high performance athletes. There's recommended daily value to keep you alive, and then there's optimal level. So like 100% of vitamin A might be like 100 milligrams of vitamin A, or I don't know what the number is for actually, but then there's upper tolerable limit. It's like, okay, well, what is the optimal intake of vitamin A to have in my blood to have that keep my cells healthy? Because ultimately, that's cells are what your whole body's built of. So if you give it the right nutrition, you give it the right hydration, cells can do their job, and then they repair tissue faster, and your body's functions better. And that's why, like, if you have a rough weekend of bad decisions, you're like, oh, my skin's a little dry. Like, okay, those are cells. You're dehydrated, you're nutrient deficient, this and that. So that blood test really showed me, like, oh, he's like, oh, do you take fish oil? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all the time? And I'm like, well, I mean, I kind of been, I like ran out and it took me a little while to get some more. And he's like, you are below where you need to be and not just below optimal. You're like deficient. I'm like, shit, I should know better. Well, yeah, as professional fitness professionals, we do know better, but that doesn't mean we're practicing. So I had to go take like, I don't even remember exactly, but, and I don't want to tell you, so you go match this because we're all different. But I had to take way more fish oil than I thought I needed because it's fat soluble. So it takes months to like accumulate what you need with the omega 3s. And then another thing I was not deficient in, but I wasn't optimal in, CoQ10, which is for your heart, was also not optimal. So I like took a bunch of extra of that. And those two things helped so much, but everything else, like I'm like, I take my vitamins every day, and it's funny, and I don't want to like scare anyone because this isn't like 100% true, but it's a nice mantra we have is take your vitamins or you're going to die. Like, oh, you're not really going to die, but you're killing your performance by not taking your vitamins. And that's literally like a multivitamin with all the ABCDs and then the minerals that the other stuff that you see on the label, the zinc, magnesium, all that stuff. So if you don't take a multivitamin, everybody needs one of those. And if you're looking for performance, I'm not a medical doctor, so you should speak to a physician. However, uh, I've come to be aware, like even my general practitioner, I think, is kind of a quack. He just has a degree and a thing on the wall, but he's still trying to give me unnecessary medical um, things that I don't feel that I need at this point. So I go there for my physicals and the things I'm mandated for, and then I'll go seek from someone who cares about fitness, performance, and whatnot, for things like this, like upper optimal dosing of vitamin A, B, C, D, magnesium, zinc, and those kind of things, because that's going to make that. So I know I'm all over the place, but so Pete, but also like talking to Richard Diaz, I'm like, I'm doing DEKA strong. I don't need running, but I'm also doing teams with running. So I went and worked with him on some like running mechanic stuff and got a nutritionist and Corinna Perkins and dialed that in. And do I know a lot of the stuff that they were teaching me? Yes. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard this. Oh yeah, I've heard this. But my mindset isn't, oh, I know this already. It's, oh, yes, I do know that. However, I'm not applying it. So what tips can you give me to systematize this so that way I'm getting enough calories and carbs and proteins without having to use all this mental capacity to plug all the proper things in every single day? Like, everyone's like, you're a professional athlete, you must work out all day. And I'm like, no, actually, I work out just like you, maybe an hour a day. And the other time I spend is on mobility activations. I go to a physio to like find out where I have things not firing, so then we can fix those, and then I'm balanced. And recovery, like thousands of different, not thousands, a bunch of different modalities to recharge my cells and get healthier and more um, recovered, so I can train again tomorrow. Stop me, direct me. I'll just keep
No.
going.
No, you're great. I think there's a lot of people with their pen and paper and pencil out right now, jotting down all of that stuff, and I think that that's great. I think if there's anything I've learned in this sport is how much of this is mental and
Hmm.
truly is heart. Like you hit a certain point where you realize you could be doing all of the right things physically and logistically, but if you're not in the right headspace, it's not going to play out. And I think you've shared a story before about the world championships before where you should have probably won, you should have probably podiumed, and then there was a snafu that happened on the row and you got in your head and things didn't go right. And then you came into 2023. I know there was the inspiration that you had from your dad, and I think there's a lot more underneath the surface there. So what about mentally and emotionally when you stepped into 2023?
Oh, great question. Thanks for redirecting me. I get excited sometimes. So I guess go back to 2022. I was the 3 seed, but many people had predicted me to win at best, but podium at worst, which would mean third place at worst. I ended up in sixth. Um, the reason why that happened, and this isn't an excuse, this is what happened, and I learned from it. So it's easy for me to talk back now. I'm like, okay, cool. It happened. I figure out what happened, work backwards. I came out of the station one's lunges. I did that fast. I got out. Station two's the rower. I got on the rower. I'm pretty good at rowing. Not maybe not the best in the field, but not far from the best. So I go to get in the rower. My foot straps are too tight. I can't get my shoes in. So then I start pulling because I don't want to get left behind, and then my feet aren't in. So then I'm thinking about that. My heart rate's going through the roof because my anxiety's building, and I'm like, I'm not losing this race because this stupid machine. And all the negative self-talk you could possibly come up with is present. And what happens with that is it ruined, like, you have a choice there, and I didn't choose the right thing. I chose to get mad at the machine, and then I finally like stopped and I fixed my feet, and then I'm just hearing all the fans around me just cranking. Everyone's ripping the rower, like they're so far ahead of me in my head. I'm like, they must be like done. And then I finally get situated, and now I'm out of my game. My game plan was to row a certain pace. Now I'm way faster than that because I gotta catch up. All that did was ruin my entire race because I let myself get overamped, and then I dug myself in a hole. There's 8 stations left. This is not my game plan. And then after the row, I was more fatigued than I should have been. Excuse me. The next station I did fine. The station after that I did fine. The station after that I tried to hammer more so than I should have. And by the time I got to my best station, I had no like pop left. And then my other another athlete that I learned a lot from, Ryan Corning, who used to be the bike master. He and I kind of watched each other from afar level up. He would increase his DEKA strong or improve his DEKA strong time, and then I would message him like, "Yeah, my bike got faster," and then I would train that, and then I would get closer, and then he'd get better, and I get closer, and he'd get better, and I get closer. So he even said on a podcast, he's like, "I'm gonna take it easy until the bike, and I'm gonna smash it and see what happens." Well, Ryan Corning did his plan. He got third place. I did not do my plan. I couldn't do what I did on what I needed to do on the bike, and I got sixth. And I was pissed because some of the people that I beat, I was like, no disrespect to you, but you should not have beaten me in this race. So that was annoying, painful, disappointing. 2023, I'm like, I'm not gonna let something like that happen. So within reaching out to coaches, Pete, Richard Diaz, even like some of my competitors, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I also started researching. I'm like, who do I know? Because I've learned this from other successful people in my life. Find someone who has what you want in life and figure out what they did to get there and copy it. So I'm like, who's raced a lot of times? Because I knew 2023 I was going to have 7 races and I wanted to win them all. And I didn't win any the year before. So who has done that? And I'm thinking and pondering and like, oh, Michael Phelps. He has raced a ton of times at the Olympics, back to back to back to back to back, and he's won a ton of races. Like he has more gold medals than anyone else. How do you do that? Well, yeah, lots of years of swimming his whole life. Got it. Can't change that. But what has he done that I can change? And then I started reading things about his coach used to mess with him. Like he's like, all right, we're gonna do a time trial today, and then his coach would like poke a hole in his goggles. So when he's swimming, his goggles will fill up with water, and then he's like trying to do a time trial, but he can't see because his goggles are wet. And then whatever, he's got to deal with it. Well, I started like on purpose messing with myself, which it's not the same as not expecting it, but at least I had to start dealing with things not being right when it mattered. So, needless to say, 2023, um, I didn't have any issues with my DEKA strong. In fact, I stuck to my guns, stuck to my game plan. The only unexpected thing I had, I guess, was I was starting to find I guess my dad passed away the year before, and I was like, he'd always made it to all my sporting events. Like, he would drive 8 hours on like a Tuesday morning to the middle of upstate New York, not, let's say, Western New York, like by Buffalo to like watch me play. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? I can't believe you took a day off work and you drove across the state to just watch me for an hour and a half. So I'm like, I want to win. Like, I want to do well. I want to make my dad proud. And in that process, I was kind of like finding my spirituality, finding a relationship with God, and very new to it. Didn't know how to pray, didn't know anything. But before that race, I'm like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna make you proud, God. If you have any will for me to do well, today would be a great day for you to do that, and whatever, like, give me the opportunity to do my thing. Um, and I just was like blowing up with tears at the starting line. I'm like, I can't even see. They're announcing me. I'm walking up. I'm wiping my face, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna go in 10 seconds." And I'm like,
Here we
I'm
go.
so teary eyed. I can't see. But once we started, I stayed in my. I was calm and grounded for station one, station two, station three, station four. I was like in fifth or sixth place coming into the bike. I did the bike, got off of that in first place. The place of roughs, I'm like overcome with emotions. I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. Now I got to keep this lead. And then I did the next station faster, and then the next station. And then I got like, I'm on the burpees. I'm like, I just got to get more burpees because everyone's going to be faster than me on burpees. I got to get as much of a lead as possible so they can't catch me. And I'm like, 4, no one's here. 5, no one's here. 6, if I can't hold them off with a 6 burpee lead, it is going to be crazy. But I ended up finishing that, and I crossed the finish line in first place, and prayers were answered, and like just elated. Like, it's not that I couldn't believe it. It was just like I visualized for so many hours, for months, like what that would do, be, and feel like, and for it to all come to fruition. But part of that mental practice, I guess, like Kayla mentioned, um, to give you like the day to day nitty gritty. Like, I read a book a long time ago and I kind of forgot about it, but I started looking for ways to solidify my routine. And uh, one book, I've read a lot of books. Um, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, if you want to write that down. He also wrote an updated version called Miracle Equation. Um, Both great books, and he almost died, and he attributes a lot of his being alive to a lot of his practices. So anyways, it's like 7 things you should do every single morning before you start your day to put yourself in the right mindset to have the most effective day possible. And what that means different things for different people, but I really embodied that. And then I also read Champion's Mind by Jim Afro, and he looks at all these things to get you in the mental headspace to perform your best. But he also looks at case studies on athletes, and then he looks at how that lays out in um, visualization, getting in flow state, all those things. So I've read that before the last two DEKA Worlds, and I'm worth reading it again just because there's so many little nuggets that's like, oh, I know that. Yeah, it's great you know that. Are you applying it? No. Okay, cool. Well, I guess we don't really know it then. So those are, I guess, my daily practices and visualization and stuff. Um, we talked about the rower costing me in 2022. In 2023, I had already won DEKA World solo, and I had 2 more races left. And I'm like, I don't care what happens. I hit my goal for the year. Obviously, I want to win these other races, but if they don't, whatever. My next race was co-ed doubles, and on the ski erg, my partner's doing the ski with this like big butterfly technique where the string ended up jumping the track. So one of the handles got stuck. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And then she skied again and then it wouldn't move. So everyone except me is freaking out, like, oh my God, the ski erg's broken. This is such BS. Like, DEKA, you're going to cost Kevin and Amber the chance to win. And like, a lot of Jess, a lot of our other athletes and fans are like getting really riled up because as a fan, we've all sat at home on the couch and watched like NFL Sunday or baseball or whatever your sport is, and something happens like we're getting screwed. This is bullshit, and I'm just like, okay, well, it is, but I get to finish the last 100 meters. I can't fix that handle, but this one works fine. So I'm just both hands on one, just like a pump handle, and I'm like, my pace isn't that bad, and we're only gonna be here another 20 seconds. Like this race isn't over. I have an option. Option one is quit. We're definitely not going to win if I quit. Option two is deal with this. We might win. And if we do, then no one cares. Option three is complain a lot, get worked up about it, and then we're probably not going to win. Maybe we can get like some salvage, like penalty time, like time back deducted because of failure of equipment or something. But I think option two is the best because that gives us the best chance to win. The other two don't look very promising. So let me just chill. And Amber's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, get ready. You got farmer carries in a second. I'm going to be done with this. And then we're on to fresh equipment. And that worked out to our favor. We ended up winning. And then again, like I said, option two, no one ended up carrying. Now it's just a funny story. So the mental pieces of that. So, all right, take it
Yeah,
back and guide me again.
I think that's so good. I think we talked about this on the team call the other night where we were talking about just being relaxed. Like it's okay to be nervous. Nervous means that you care about something, obviously if it's channeled in the right way. But to be uptight is to completely take away the joy out of things, to take you away from the focus. Like it just puts you in the wrong space. And I think the fact that you're like, okay, I met this big goal. And obviously, when you meet a big goal, you're elated and you've got your endorphins working for you. But I think there's still something too, like, if I just like let go of the outcome and just go out there and rip it and have some freaking fun, like you're just in such a better space to go out there and perform in the way that you know how to without having all the pressure of expectations and the stuff that you put on yourself. So I think that was really good. And then of course, I think adaptability is like the most important thing that people can do. Like I also have looked to Michael Phelps, and one of the most important things I learned from him was his visualization tactic. And it wasn't just about what you ideally want to have happen, but also what if something goes wrong? Like visualize yourself not freaking out, being able to adapt, and then find a plan B, find a plan C. And that stuff was really helpful for me. So I would go through and take all of my biggest fears and all the worst case scenarios and visualize those. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you already have that familiarity, when you get there, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna go down, road C like we visualize, and you just make it through to the other side. I think that kind of directs us, now into the 2024 season. So you just had this really crazy, amazing 2023. People are looking to you for coaching. You're feeling on top of the world. We get to 2024, and now there's like this whole expectation of Kevin's going to do well. Kevin's going to win a bunch of titles, and you have big goals too. All this pressure and expectation that you're putting on yourself. And it didn't go as planned. You set this goal to do the things, and you were getting second here, or maybe not even podiuming there, and you're like, okay, well, this isn't like what I was hoping for. And the one I want to flash forward to is like, okay, everyone's got our money. Kevin's going to win the strong again. He's the number one seed. It's going to happen. And I had just gotten done with the elite female race, and I'm sitting in recovery and I'm watching this happen. And I just like remembered on the tank, like, you had like nothing left. There was like zero happening. You get to the burpee, you get to number 5, and there is just nothing left. And I know that you're fighting for your life. And in that moment, there was someone else that had a better plan, a better strategy, a better headspace, whatever it was. And they crossed the finish line before you. You still took a podium spot. But I knew that when you would come into the recovery center that it would be a tough conversation. And you just sat there for a moment. I remember this so clearly. Like, it was just silent for a second. And I could see like you were just on like the verge of breaking down. And it was just like this, I don't know what happened, like, what the hell, blah, 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 blah. And I just commended you for the fact that like you had so much pressure to face that year, from what you put on yourself, from what other people put on you, just the expectation that you were the guy to beat. And to show up for that and still put up the performances that you did, like, you've led the way for so many athletes. And I also remember sharing with you, like, maybe 2024 wasn't about the season of Kevin being on top of the podiums. Maybe it was the season of impact. You
Hmm.
brought me into this sport. You inspired me to be better. I got to not only be a world champion this year, but I got to bring 7 other women with me to find their podiums, to chase after their joy in racing. Like, your impact went from like a lone soldier who had this dream, this vision to start a gym, had a few people on a team, and now 2 years later, here you are. You have one of the most dominant teams in hybrid racing. Everyone knows who we are. And it's like your impact has gone so freaking far in depth. Like, maybe 2024 was not the season for you. It was the season for us to show the community, to show who we are, and just the impact that you've made. And I know that that resonated, and we got to share a hug and some tears, and that was good. But from that moment forward, I mean, going into this year's world's championship, like what did you learn? Like, where is your head at? Like where are you at with everything?
I think last year, leading into Worlds, I was still trying to do everything myself. Like, yes, I made a big impact, and I appreciate that goes recognized. The joy of watching everybody else hit their goals, like, that's far superior to me hitting my goals. Like, at first, when I hadn't done anything, it's like, well, I need to do something to prove myself. But I think maturity wise, as I've aged, as I've learned and counseled and whatnot, the impact is more fulfilling than the personal satisfaction of doing something. And the I don't even know how many times I like shed tears or just massive emotional like responses to someone crossing a finish line. Like, oh my god, that's amazing! I'm so happy for you. Um, and like even in like races that I won, like me and AJ won or me and Amber won DEKA Strong teams in 2024, and the excitement to turn around and see 4 of our friends diving across the finish line together neck and neck. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. It's Chelsea and Pat, or Chelsea and whoever she was with, Zach. Like, they're on the podium with us, and I'm like, oh, Katie and Mike are also on the podium with us. This is amazing. So like that was there, but the my big growth coming into this year is not trying to do it all myself, because last year I was doing all the programming for every athlete of Underdog for most of the year. Only at the very end of the year did I start relinquishing some of the training for the other coaches um, on the team. And it's not that we didn't have coaches on the team; they were just coaching people at their gyms or whatever. But towards the end of the year, when we started taking on more athletes, I'm like, okay, let's. I think you can handle this. You're very great at what you do. I think these people are really going to be served better by you because you have more time, attention, and capacity to handle what they need versus me. I'm super spread out with being a coach, building a brand, traveling and networking, and like building resources for our brand, and the back stuff like booking a house for us to stay in together
Yeah.
so we can have some fun at Worlds and not be in 74 different hotel rooms. And um, so this year, my big growth has been to not do all the coaching. In fact, I'm doing the least amount of coaching I've done since we opened, because instead of me coaching all the athletes, I'm able to do what I excel at. I'm great at relationship building. I'm great at painting vision. I'm great at speaking life into people. What I'm not great at is sitting in front of a computer for a really long time. It drains me. Like, I can do it. Even Zoom calls, like, I love it for the hour or whatever I'm in there. And then as soon as I close the computer, I'm like, I need a nap. I am fried. I'd rather train for 2 hours at high intensity. Like, all right, let's go. But Zoom's just like, whew. So that, like, figuring out where am I best suited to serve at my greatest capacity, and that's been our season of growth for Underdog this year. Is all right, Kayla's amazing at training DEKA, amazing with women, and let's just have her train like her optimal client, because she does so well at that, and we're attracting all these people that connect with her. Like, here, great, you get to train everybody. Can I? Absolutely. Can I do a good job? Yes, I've proven that. But every extra person on top of my client load is diminishing the service I can provide for the rest of the pool. So every additional client we take in, which is, it's a business, we need more clients to operate and flourish, but the more people, the diminishing returns of the product quality, which means people aren't going to be hitting the goals that they want because they're not getting the attention. But now, um, feeding Kayla or AJ, who's taken the lead on the High Rocks build or the endurance running front, and just feeding him those clients, and he connects really well with them, and it's so cool. We don't have a clicky team where it's like, oh, I only hang out with Kayla's clients because we're on her team, and AJ's clients. Like, it's not like that at all. It's just the flavor of the different pockets of athletes is so cool, because you're like, oh, you're an AJ person, oh, you're a Kayla person, but we come together at a race and like, that's an underdog, woo! So that's been so cool to see us grow overall as a team. And um, I can't leave out mentioning Ricardo, who works with the gold dogs, the G old dogs, like good old, because they're the older population. But his cohort is killing it too. So and then we have we have developing coaches like Molly and Alton, who are still in school, so their availability and their capacity is a little less, so they're not taking on the big course load, but they're learning from me, which is cool. But they're learning from AJ, Kayla, and Ricardo. Like, all right, how do I develop my own little flavor here under the underdog umbrella, but leverage the team culture and whatnot, which uplifts everybody. And like, you don't have to be the magic. You're like, oh, you're a mom, you have 2 kids, you think it's hard to work out. Well, I don't have any kids, but guess what? Christine's kicking ass. Maybe she can give you some tips. And all the athletes are so good at uplifting one another and sharing um, their mentality and how to figure it out and how to get things done. And it's not about being a professional athlete. Like, everybody on our team has to make money somehow, and no one's making money on winnings. They're all have some sort of professional thing. A lot of them have families, and that's what I've learned over the years for myself as well. But this is, I think, what's attracted a lot of people to our brand is we're not run by professional athletes that trains 12 hours a day. We have regular people that are piecing things together, and we have coaches that understand, like, your priorities need to stay your priorities. And Kayla mentioned something earlier in the call, um, and I can't remember how she worded it. It was very nicely worded, but we just went down a different path. But if your priorities are, let's say, like God, family, and whatever else, then racing. All right, well, you got to make sure you're taking care of your family. You need to have a great relationship with your spouse or your partner. That way, you guys are on the same page, because they're going to cover your ass when you got to go do extra training during the right time of the year. You got to keep your faith big, because if you're taking on all the burdens of the world, you're not grounded. So you need to be able to release things and forgive people, and then racing. Oh, that's number 3. Number 3 is, it's the third on the priority list. Well, then guess what? Number 1 and 2 need to be staying priorities. And then we fit in, all right, when do we train? How do we get in what we need to? Well, when do we put in the recovery? How do we do this, that, and the other thing? So racing, like, I've made the mistake of saying, okay, competition is my number 1 priority, and I've sacrificed those other things that should have been priorities. And the scorched earth behind you is going to lead to you not even performing that well, because now no one likes you because you're an asshole, because You're all in it for yourself. You burn your bridges. Like people at work don't like you because you're just grumpy all the time because you're just like, ah, oh, leave me alone. I got to eat my chicken and rice and my broccoli so I can train properly later and get off my treadmill. This is my treadmill. And you're just like, you're not a good person. You can be dedicated without being a good person, but you're going to get further if you are a good person. I think there's a phrase, I think if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, or something like that. And that's why Underdog has done so well as a brand, because we've linked arms and locked arms and we're all moving together as one. And when someone trips and falls, we're already linked with the next person to scoop us up. And we do so much team building, which is mind blowing to a lot of other teams, people, and coaches, because like, but you guys aren't even together. And I'm like, yeah, we have like 5 people who come in the gym on a regular basis. How do we even have a physical space? Well, so I can work out here, and so we can host events, basically. And we host events so people have a reason to come hang out, because a lot of us can justify traveling for a race, but not just like social weekend or whatever. So did I cover what you asked? Now I'm all over the place again.
No, you're good.
Reel me back in.
You're good. How are you going to measure success for yourself going into December? What's your measure of success?
Going into December or at December?
In December, when you
Oh,
go to compete at World Championships, what is your measure of success?
I mean, the easy measure is performance, but I also like I did not win the DEKA Fit co-ed race last year. I lost to Grayson and Katie. My partner did amazing. She did fall down. I don't blame her for us losing. That was something that wasn't perfect. But at the end of the day, they beat us. And I think for the last 2-3 stations, I spent most of my air cheering for them to keep going. And yes, I was cheering for my partner too, but when they were ahead of us, I was like, let's go, keep it up. Let's keep like most people are like, what? Why are you cheering for the team that's beating your ass? I'm like, because I like them. They're great people. They pulled me to make me better. I've beaten them before, but we have a great competitive relationship, and I want them to go. And they ended up breaking the world record. And yeah, we got second place. Shucks. So did I lose that race? On paper, yes. But I was ecstatic that they put together such a great race that they were able to beat me. And in my other race after that, I got fourth place. And I was pissed because I feel like I got outsmarted. And it's not, could I have been faster? Yes. But in my head, I didn't strategize in a way that suited our team best. And my partner, super smart too, but the two of us just overlooked the fact that the depth of field would have caused the race to shake out the way it did. So I felt like I lost that one because I got outsmarted. The next day, you and I had enough snafus for a highlight reel of follies, but we won. Um, we didn't get shaken up, but we did have a lot of issues. One being stupidity. I put my race plan on a card and put it in my shorts, like in my compression shorts. And after the first run, it kind of fell out. And I don't even to this day know where it went. But then I was like, okay, I can't really reference what our game plan is. Hey, Kayla, do you do the next run? Or are we splitting this? Like, hey. But communication overcame that. We had a number of other things where last place girl running into Kayla and shouldn't have been an interference. Like we shouldn't have. We were leading. We shouldn't have had to worry about someone coming in from the other side and running into us and getting in the way. But it happened. We persevered. Then we played bobble the baton and kick it the wrong way, and then start running without the baton. And then hey, we need this. And then hey, I'm not running right now, but now I'm not resting. I need to get you the baton. And then it just a comedy of errors. And so yes, we won the race, but we had fun. We didn't. The only reason we were able to win is because we stayed composed and we laughed about it, and we're like, oh, all right, well, I trust my partner. She trusts me. We're gonna do what we need to do, and we're still on track to execute our game plan. The one after that, I got second. Again, I didn't want to get second, but the guys that beat me, like they beat me. They had a better day. They ran a better race. Kayla talked about my third place finish in solo. I went in with the mentality of I have 2 people to beat. One of them had a hip problem on station 3 and dropped out of the race. The other one dropped the dumbbell because he got a dead arm on station 6. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Mentally, I can check out. It's my race. I'm done. I win because my two biggest competitors are injured, which was not an option in my head when I was thinking about it. But turns out I took for granted the other guys in the race. There was other guys out there that were very capable, and whatever it was mental, 100% mental. Was I fit enough? Absolutely. But mentally, I didn't have the grit that day to do what I needed to do. And like Kayla said, I was fighting for my life on the tank, and then the burpees, I was just dead. And watching the wind slip out of my fingers, and then I crossed the finish line thinking I was in second, and I didn't realize someone beat the guy that beat me, and I was in third. And I was like, at the end, I had no ill will against the two guys that beat me. They executed, especially the guy in first. He's like, I talked to him, and I was so excited he won because he's such a great athlete and a superhuman great person. And I was like, what did you do? And he's like, I don't know. I got to burpees, and I was like, I'm fresh. Let's go. And I was like, well, yep, that's the opposite of how I felt. And he's good at burpees, so. Um, but then I was able to close out the weekend with two solo races, which were both wins, and those are title defenses. So I think for this year, like I want to win all 7 races, and if I don't win, as long as I can look at the races and be like, hey, I executed the plan. We did our best. If we won, it's because we deserved to win. If we didn't win, someone else deserved to win. Um, and I think I would like to go 7 for 7, but one race at a time. I can't look past the first. The first race is the most important. My partner from 2 years ago is back. We won last. I don't know. Every time we raced together, I don't think we've ever not won, and we beat like Lauren Weeks, so we're pretty good. But the team that won last year's back, so now it's like my my A team versus their A team, and I'm definitely putting in more efforts because of the things that I learned from that race. So I don't want to say I don't want to win because I 100% want to win. Um, but I'm not putting stock on if I don't win, it's a failure. I want to execute the races. That's I guess the measure of success. I and not to not to say if there's a mistake I didn't execute. I've fallen off the box more times than I can count in DEKA, including with a ruck, and that is my mindset during that is the same as it was on the ski erg. I'm like, oh, caught my foot. The world slows down to like point one speed, and it's just like just all right, we're going down. But I think that's what you get from doing the mental practice. That's what you get from the visualization. That's what you get. Like your mind has the logic brain still activated when something goes awry, so you can process the possibilities, and you have the world has been paused, like in that movie Click, and you're like, all right, I'm on my way to the ground. I'm definitely going to go all the way. There's nothing going to stop me. Things of importance. Don't get hurt. Let's protect my corners. Let's kind of roll if possible. Then once I hit the ground, zen, let's get back to our feet and we'll get back into the reps. It doesn't define me. Who cares? Laugh it off. No need to get worked up. Let's go. And I think that's the difference between someone who practices the mental piece, which we talked about, and someone that isn't, because your emotions kick in immediately. And if you let your emotions dictate your actions, it's just like a drunk driver. You don't know where they're going to go. They're not going to take you anywhere good. But if you can stay, if you're like, oh, hey, emotions, get in the back seat. I'm driving. Logic brain's here. All right, buckle up. All right, here's what we got to do. It's not over. This is all that matters. The baton is rolling away like a fumble in football. There's 2 of us chasing a greased pig in the wrong direction. All right. One of us is going to grab it. Oh, she left. Okay. I'm going to grab it. And then I'm going to chase her down. And I'm going to hand her the baton. And that is going to put us right back where we need to be. And we can go back to our plan.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
I'm gonna challenge you.
Hit me.
This will be, I think, an off the not off the grid, but
Sure.
just a
Tough.
conversation behind the scenes. I think there's so much opportunity for you in the measure of success. Like just not about the outcome. I love the idea of you thinking about of wanting to execute because there's nothing more frustrating when you're like, I knew I could have executed and I just didn't. I know that feeling too. But I'd love to see you look outside of that personally and see what else is there besides just the set going 7 for 7 wins. Um, so that's my challenge to you that you get to think on. But to end us, sir, anything else you want the listeners to know? Anything that's on your heart?
No matter where you are in your journey, you're right where you're supposed to be. If you're really far along, great, you did all the work to get there. If you're not and you don't feel like you deserve it, you're right where you're supposed to be. You deserve to be where you're supposed to be, and whether you understand it now or not, you may figure it out someday or you may not, but you just need to appreciate where you are, and that's going to allow the doors to open for you to move to the next step and the next step and the next step. And if you're so set in feeling bad about where you are, it's going to close all the doors and it's going to keep all the people out of your life that are going to be able to take you by the hand and lead you to the next step and open up new opportunities to meet new people that are going to continue to take you to the next step. And there's things that you're meant for that you don't even know exist yet, or you don't even know, like you can't even fathom them because you're only so far. You think about climbing a staircase, you can't see the top. All you can see is the step in front of you. That's all you need to see. Take that step. Or if you're climbing, I was hanging out with a couple that climbed Mount Kilimanjaro last weekend. And I was like, oh my God, I trained a woman that did that a bunch of years ago, but tell me your experience. I'm all ears. And they're super fit. Like they're hybrid athletes. They are really fit. And they're like, yeah, it took us like a week. And like day 4, I was like, I'm good. I'm done with this shit. I don't want to be out here anymore. But you have to do the process because super fit people are the ones that die because they want to run up the mountain and they're like, well, your body's not made for this oxygen loss. So there's a science and you need to do it the right way. And if you don't, um, if you try to rush the process, you're going to miss the joy. I know you talk about that all the time. And the process isn't about just finishing in the position you want. It's about all the things you learn along the way. And I love the quote, like, true joy is found in the pursuit of something worthwhile. If you have destination syndrome, you're going to have all this anticipation and then you're going to get let down. And it doesn't matter if it's a relationship or a race or a job or I can't wait for that promotion. And you're like, it's coming at 6 months and they get the promotion. And then you get the job and you're like, this is it. It's the same as it was before. Guess what? Huge drop in like, okay, now what? There's nothing there. Oh, if I date this person, it's gonna be the best. Life's gonna be amazing. And then you meet them and you're like, at first, like, this is amazing, and then you realize they're just a regular person with all the same flaws you have, and you're like, ugh, they're not even that good. They're just on a pedestal. Like, they are that good, but you just focus on all the wrong things, so you're not going to be able to build a life with someone like that because you think they have to be perfect, and as soon as they show that they're not, then all right, well, I guess I need to get somebody different. But same with racing, and I've learned over the years having a race is important. It holds you accountable, it pulls you. But once you finish that race, whether you win it or you lose it, because I've done both, the next day after the race, you're just like, now what? So enjoy the process, enjoy the joy during the race. Like I've gotten better and better over the years. I don't have this month of blues. I don't want to use the D word because clinical depression is serious and I'm not licensed to speak on that, but definitely the blues. We can understand like just have something missing. Um, the past few years, again, the wins and the not wins, but being able to look back over the year and like you gave me great perspective last year in the recovery zone, but hey, look at the path. We have all this amazing stuff in the wake of the time that it took us to get here. This person never raced before. They podiumed in their first worlds. This person won. And last year they were like 12th. This person was in age group last year. Now they're in elite. This person, this person, this person. All of this was because of something you did or some decision. And I'm not here to take credit for the hard work people put in. I just am blessed to have the opportunity to give them a little encouragement and move them a step forward and provide a community or training program or whatever to help them move towards what they want. So don't don't miss the opportunity to stop and smell the roses, or gratitude. Like, daily gratitude journaling is like the most powerful thing I can tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, beautiful. It was awesome getting to have you, getting to hear what it's like to be the world champ and see what he's after next. And I'm
More
sure
gold.
woohoo, we'll see you in December. It'll be great. But thanks again for joining us.
Last, if anybody sees me at an event, come say hi. I'm a regular person. I'm not
Please.
anything to be like intimidated by. Kayla, I'm sure, gets this all the time, and my friend Kelly Sullivan and I, we make fun of each other because we'll be together at an event, and someone will come up, and we'll both know they're about to fangirl or boy the hell out of one of us, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's Kelly! I have been a fan for so long." And she's like, "That's awesome. Thanks for coming to say hi." Like, and then they would like want a picture and like, yeah, no problem. Like, hey, anything, like reach out, DM me if you have questions, anything I could do to serve you. And then they walk away and like, oh my god, it's Kelly. Oh, I've been a fan forever. And she does the same shit to me. But we're really just regular people, and like we have like I think our online personalities across the whole underdog community match who we really are. We mentioned egos before. Some people have egos and they're like, oh, tough and rugged, and then they're kind of like just not nice in person. That's not as many people as you think. The egos, the online egos, are much higher, I think, than the true hearts of people. Speaking specifically, like a Hunter McIntyre, like you think he's a complete asshole online, but if you meet him, he's got just as big of a heart as anyone else. But speaking for our environment and our group, we're all regular people. We want to serve you. If you have anything that you want to ask, or you want a picture or anything, like just come up and ask, and we'll have a tent so you can come meet all of our all stars, shake
Yeah.
hands, kiss babies. That's last.
Exactly. Well, we'll be looking forward to saying hi and kissing babies and shaking hands when we get there.